This little girl suddenly realized that she had been promised by her parents to a 70-year-old man. She decided to run away in the night. The girl ran barefoot through the hot desert. When she was thirsty, she chewed on thorns. When she got sleepy, she found a place to lie down. And no one would have guessed that this girl would later change the fate of all women. Soon she met her driver, but the man tried to assault her. The girl grabbed a rock and knocked the driver unconscious before she escaped. After a long walk, the girl arrived at her grandmother's house in the city. Grandma sent her to work as a maid. She worked there for 6 years, until one day, Wallace learned from the news. All personnel stationed abroad must be repatriated to their home country. If she was sent home, she will still be the fate of being sold. So she chose to run away again. That day, the girl was going to spend the night in the restroom, but the salesgirl found her. But Mary didn't say anything, so she followed her and begged Mary to take her in. Mary agreed to take her in for the night, but the next morning, she found her room so cleaned up. Wallace even prepared breakfast for her. Mary decided to keep Wallace. She introduced her to a job in a restaurant. That day, a strange customer came to the restaurant. He stared at her for a long time. Before he left, he gave her a business card. He was a photographer. He wanted to invite Wallace to be his model. He asked Wallace to contact him. Wallace put the card in her pocket casually. When Wallace came home at night, she bumped into Mary making out with her boyfriend. Waries was a bit angry. Circumcised women don't do this kind of thing. It was the first time Mary heard the word circumcision. She was curious. Waries was shocked that there were women who didn't know about circumcision. So she showed Mary her body. Mary was shocked by what she saw. Her eyes reddened instantly. When Mary finished, she lifted up her skirt. Waries couldn't hold back her tears any longer. When she was 3 years old, her family sent her to the Gobi to be circumcised. The death rate from circumcision is very high. 2 of Waries' sisters died during the circumcision, although she survived. But there were many after effects. For example, it takes a long time to go to the toilet, and frequent stomach pains. One day, Wallace was in terrible pain. Mary rushed her to the hospital. The doctors were very sympathetic to Wallace, although the missing part could not be restored. But they could make the pain go away with an operation. The doctor found a nurse to translate for her, but the doctor's words of comfort and encouragement. After the nurse's translation, the words of encouragement were turned into mockery. Wallace left the hospital in silence, but when she passed by a clothing store, she saw herself in the mirror. It reminded her of her grandmother and mother. She thought of millions of African women. Waries didn't hesitate any longer. With Mary by her side, she underwent the operation in order to have a better life. Waries found the photographer. Under Donald's guidance, she soon got used to the camera. These photos got Wallace picked up by a modeling agency, but Waries couldn't even walk in heels. She couldn't walk well, so she practiced in the hallway. Soon she became famous in the fashion world. Her agent said he'd take her to shows all over the world. Wallace shared the good news with Mary and gave her an expensive watch as a gift. She would always remember that when she was at her worst, Mary took her in. Soon Wallace was on the world stage. She was confident in every step she took. But just when Wallace's career was on the rise, she returned to Africa to make a documentary about her upbringing. She wanted to tell everyone what she had experienced. Soon it became a sensation. Thanks to her efforts, circumcision was officially banned in many countries. She succeeded in changing the fate of all women.